Welcome back to section 2 of responsive design, our course on helping you become a responsive web designer. So what are we going to do in this section? And in this section, we're really moving into responsive designs, or really learning about what media queries are and how to work with them. In the first section, we learned about media queries in general. In this section, we're really putting the glue inside with expressions, making it possible for us to really create designs for different media types and for different media resolutions. So the first topic that we're going to approach is going to be asking, what is responsive design? And through that question, we're going to have a few other questions coming up. We're going to talk about how to optimize for specific devices and how to create an actual responsive design with size ranges. We're also going to look into mobile responsiveness and the differences between desktop and mobile in general. We're also going to wrap up this section talking about how do we make our stuff as backward compatible as we can. And that's it. So let's jump right into our first lecture in this section, which is what is responsive design. In this lecture, we're going to go through the differences between responsive design, static design, adoptive design, and liquid design. So let's get to it. So go into your browser and open up your source files. And in your source files, you'll find in section 2 a new link inside of your references to what is responsive web design. In it, you'll find a really nice article that I wrote that breaks down and explains the differences between static, adoptive, liquid, and responsive design. And you'll find there also a reference guide, and I want you to find in there examples of the different types of web design. Click into it and you'll get into this page. And it's a fantastic page because it visually shows you the differences between all those different types. And I want to start with the static design. So go to the drop down menu on the top area here and switch into static. Traditional design was basically static. There was one design, one format for the design. If you resize your screen, it really did not matter. It didn't change the fact that you only had one size. If you go ahead and then let's go ahead and try another version, which is the liquid design. The liquid design, contrary to that, is built based on percentages. And in other words, if I resize my screen, everything is going to squeeze in and resize. But at some point, these designs are just not really working anymore once you squeeze it too much. Another way to create your designs is using something that is called liquid design. We did adoptive design, and adoptive design has basically a few different resolutions. So if we have your one resolution, in a second resolution it'll be somewhat smaller, and another resolution you'll have only 2 columns, and in another resolution you'll just have 1 column per line. But really what's happening here is that there's distinct different sizes, and there is no other resizes in between. Notice how it sticks to that specific size until it snaps to a new size. And that really leads us to responsive design, because what responsive design responds to the user all the time. And in other words, it is liquid in nature and adoptive by nature. So it will resize with the user as long as the user is resizing, taking advantage of whatever the user decided their screen to be. But at some point, you're switching into the design that is more fitting to those resolutions. And that is, in essence, responsive design. So now you know the differences between all of them. And if you ever forget, you could always go back to this short summary that kind of highlights the differences between static, adoptive, liquid, and responsive design, when responsive design is really a combination of liquid and adoptive design. So we're done with this lecture, but in the next lecture, what we're going to be doing is we're going to go into optimizing for a specific device, or really creating our first adoptive design. So in the next lecture, we're really going to create our first adoptive design.